Will this finally be your year to achieve everything that you want? Today, in part four of this series on how to do exactly that, we're going to talk about how to re engage with systems and strategies. You've probably heard it said before that success really is about systems and the systems that you develop more so than even talent. Systems and consistency really and truly are what help get the job done. I'm Jackie Elmer. Learn more about me and my success coaching at streetsmartwealth.com. Now, this, as I mentioned, is part four in a four-part series. Part one, we talked about how to review and reflect on the year that we've just completed. Now, I'm recording this in January of 2025, but it doesn't matter when you're listening to it. You can always look back a year, a month, 6 months, whatever you want to do. You get to set the rules for yourself. Okay. So we talked about closing out the year that we've just completed and doing some accountability, some planning, and like I like to say, some tough love and some self discipline as to why we advanced or why we didn't. That's step one. And then step two was to realign and reevaluate with your vision. Are you still pursuing your concept of a worthy goal of what you most want to achieve at this point in your life? And then step three, how to reignite your passions and desires and move in the direction of these goals. Part of reigniting that is having a morning routine, having a daily plan, and then we're going to add on to that with our systems and strategies for today. Now, I've said it before, and I apologize. It might be redundant, but it's worth repeating because it matters. What's on the calendar gets done. So I'm a big fan of the old-fashioned handwritten day timer as well as notebooks for planning. So I do the bulk of my planning. I like to use Sunday afternoons. Again, no rules. You choose whatever day works for you. But Sunday afternoon is kind of quiet time for me, reflecting. Even though I've been an entrepreneur and worked from home for over 32 years, I still have that Monday through Friday mindset. And so I like to use Sundays to plan out everything that I'm going to do. So I like to sit down for an hour and look at my calendar, what's on there, what's non-negotiable, and then fill the rest of that in. Now, on the last episode, I talked about my new strategy of time blocking just in an old-fashioned notebook. If you're watching this on YouTube, you can just go to my Jackie Elmer channel on YouTube. You can see this. I will link the YouTube episode in the audio podcast in case you're listening to this on audio. But if you want to see this, it's really, really simple. It's just a lined composition notebook where every day I get up and I write in hour blocks what it is, what my time is. I get up super early, so I start 4 to 5. So I have 4 to 5, 5 to 6, 6 to 7 written in here. And then down at the very bottom, I leave about 5 or 6 lines to write in tasks. So I write in all the tasks for the day that I plan to accomplish. And then I plot those in to the time increments. And as I mentioned on the last show, this is imperfect. I'm still in the process of working with this, but that's okay because I'm learning a lot about myself. I'm learning a lot about routines, and I'm learning a lot about those things that are going to set me up to be successful. So I do this planning every night before the next day. But what I do in my Sunday planning is I get out my calendar and I write down, what am I working toward this week? What do I need to know? Am I going to a networking event? For instance, tomorrow I'm going to a women's networking luncheon. What do I need and want to have to be prepared for that? Business cards, my elevator pitch, right? When people ask me what I do, I want to be prepared to say that. I want to be prepared with who I know who's going, if at all possible. This is through a Facebook group, so I'm able to look ahead and see who's going to be there. Who do I most want to meet? Who do I most want to reconnect with? How can I really make this time more than just, oh, I'm showing up and let's just see what happens? So I go through on Sunday and I write down everything that's planned for the week. And then I write down, what am I working toward? I do a year planning session before the year starts. And then I do quarterly planning sessions. And most of that involves my marketing, That's not necessarily the most important, but it's what I'm starting with, which is what I'm doing right now, creating this YouTube and audio podcast. This is marketing. It's sharing knowledge, it's sharing what works, and it's ultimately speaking to those people who are my ideal clients. People who ultimately, ideally, want to work with me in some capacity in one of my programs, one on one coaching, whatever it is. So I know what I'm working toward. I know I've already written out my future vision, my letter to myself, my goals, how I want to end on December 31st of 2025. I have that in writing, so it makes it easier for me each Sunday to look down and say, what is most important to me for this next week? What do I have to be doing, right, to keep moving myself forward toward the embodiment of the goals that I've desired? Now, one of the beauties of using this type of calendar blocking and planning is it allows me to stop negotiating, or I should say, it restricts me to some extent to stop negotiating with myself on whether or not I feel like doing something, how to not waver from what I said I was going to do. I wrote it down, it's on the calendar, and I'm going to do it because I said I would. I mentioned this on the last episode. You don't need to be motivated to take action. You don't need to be perfect to take action. There is power in the process. There is power in the process of simply taking action because you learn so much about yourself, your strengths, which you want to keep working on, your weaknesses, which you want to seek to improve. But it really truly teaches you so much about yourself and helps you fine tune those processes to where you're no longer fighting or struggling to achieve the success that you want. When you have big goals, the most important thing to do is break them down into those little bite-sized chunks. I keep holding up here on YouTube, this time blocking. I get up every day and I look to see, oh, what am I doing from 7 to 8? I'm showering, I'm getting ready, I'm eating, and I'm making my bulletproof coffee because the next hour I'm going to be recording YouTube videos and podcasts. So I have to be ready. Now, the next day is not video shoot day. It's going to be writing, creating content, creating those email series, doing all that stuff. I don't have to shower right away. I can get up and be much more lazy on that particular day. And that frees me from decision fatigue of having to think constantly, wow, I know I should be doing something on my business. What is it? So we take those big goals, we break them down into bite-sized chunks, daily actions, and then we plot them into our calendar and we build on those habits. It's so important to do this. I want you to fast forward 12 months. Looking back, what were the steps that you took to get there? I've talked about this from the very beginning. It's so easy to set goals, right? We set goals, and that's why goals, intentions, and resolutions are often a thing of the past by the third week of the new year, which I believe we are in the third week of the new year as this is coming out. So you're going to know exactly what I'm talking about. Think back. Did you have goals, intentions, resolutions that you created on January 1st? And how are you doing with those? Okay. So I want you to fast forward 12 months and I want you to look back. What were those steps that you had to take quarterly, month to month, week to week, and day to day to actually get you there? And how are you doing so far? Okay. It's never too late to pick back up and keep going. When we have big goals like that, we only need to focus on the day-to-day result of getting accomplished what we have written in our book. We don't have to think about getting the next promotion or necessarily signing up the next client or whatever, depending on, what you're doing for the day. We just have to focus on checking off and completing the tasks that we know are required to get us where we want to go. So I mentioned that my word of the year this year is completion. Every single day at the end of the day, that's when I do my reflection on the day. And I look to see, did I complete the tasks that I mentioned? Now, on last week's call, I mentioned I did not, one of the days, and many of the days, I don't complete everything that's on this hour by hour task list. I don't beat myself up over that. I just know that through this knowledge through learning, through understanding how long it's going to take me, fighting the tendency to want to procrastinate. There's a tendency to think that once you've reached a level of success, you're no longer fearful, you no longer procrastinate, or any of those things. And it's crazy. That's just not true. I fight the desire to procrastinate every single day. Every single day, there's a million other things I would rather do than these tasks. Okay. But it doesn't matter. When they're written down, I don't have to have the motivation to accomplish them. I just have to look and say, this is what I said I'm going to do. I'm going to honor the commitment to myself. I'm going to honor the commitment to the people who I serve, and I'm going to get it done regardless. So every day I ask myself, did I accomplish the process of doing that? Did I complete, to go along with my word of the year, do I have completion on the day? And if not, why? What did I learn about myself? How can I strive to do better? What do I need to adapt? Maybe I'm putting too many things on that list. That's highly possible. Maybe I'm putting too many things on that list. But knowing that going in, again, that's what helps me to do better and adapt what I need to adapt. So again, you don't have to feel motivated to take action. Get everything ready as much as you can the night before. So that's a big part of it. I do Sunday planning, right? Sunday planning is when I sit down and I write out everything for the week. And then day to day in the evening, the night before, that's when I create my plan in my little composition notebook with my little, very, very simple way of doing that. 4 to 5, yes, I get up early. 4 to 5, 5 to 6, 6 to 7, 7 to 8, and then all the tasks that I intend and would like to accomplish, that I've made a decision to accomplish for the day, go in there. Okay? And then I don't have to worry anymore. I get up and I look at it, and that tells me I already have it written down. Shower, get ready because you're doing videos. Oh, because in the next hour you're doing videos. Today's a writing day. Okay, maybe I'm not. You just want to plan your success by planning your tasks and getting them on the calendar. And then a question to ask yourself, and this is something I use as a system and a strategy to ask myself when I'm feeling unmotivated. With what I currently have, what is possible for me? I mentioned flexibility. The reality of it is sometimes we get sick. Sometimes somebody we care for gets sick. Sometimes there's a death. Sometimes there's an emergency. Sometimes things just happen. But I always ask myself, what can I accomplish right now with what I currently have? What is possible for me? And then I work to take action in some way so that at the end of the day, I feel accomplished. Maybe I didn't complete everything that I had in here, but that's okay because now I understand why. So, step 1, define each goal process. You have your goals. What are the processes, the tasks that have to happen to achieve that goal? And what is the habit routine that you're going to build and develop to do that? Number 2, act your way into feeling and getting it done. You don't have to be motivated. You don't have to be inspired. Just raise up that energy level and act your way into getting it done. You know what? I mentioned before, you can always hit delete, right? You can't always redo person-to-person conversations, but you almost never don't have the opportunity to change things up. But what you learn about yourself in the process and the confidence that it builds by simply doing it is just literally immeasurable in terms of how valuable it is to you. And then the third step is get an accountability group or a partner. Spend the money if at all possible and needed to do that. And if you're looking for an accountability coach, I would love to be that person for you. I've started a new laser coaching program with accountability, and I'm going to be sharing more about that, but you can simply go to streetsmartwealth.com, go to the contact page, coach with me. You'll find the forms there to learn more. So that's it. That's our 4-part series. How did these land with you? How did you do with reflecting and reviewing? Part 1. How did you do with reevaluating? Are you still in alignment with your vision and your goals? And then part three, how did you feel about reigniting your passions and desires so that you can move forward? And then finally, today, what will you do to re engage, create those strategies, create those habits to execute and end your year completed, accomplished, whatever your word is? I'm Jackie Elmer. Thanks for listening. Remember this, we don't get our goals, we get our habits. What are your current habits producing for you? Would it change your business at all if you knew exactly what to say online and offline about your business without annoying family, friends, and strangers? Join me for the KillerContentFormula.com 3-day challenge. I'll provide proven tools to overcome fears and limiting beliefs that keep you feeling stuck with what to share on social. We'll create your powerful impact introduction. We'll write your business story in a formula to share on social that attracts your ideal clients and doesn't turn anyone off. And you can use this formula over and over and over. No more stare, compare, and despair about what to say to grow your business. Grab the first 3 video trainings at KillerContentFormula.com. And let's create that rock star lifestyle business you desire.